Hello, everyone. This is Chrissy and Tanner from Common Sense Education. We are here again today to tell you about a tool. And today it's Tanner's turn. And Tanner, I will kick it off to you. Just a reminder before we get started, we are here every Tuesday. So please, my cats are in the background. You may hear some things today. It's possible.
It sounded like they just broke through a window.
It's possible. I'll find out later. In
We'll
any
assess
case,
the
please,
damage later.
yes, I'll mute myself while you're presenting your tool, Tanner. Take it away.
So this is a site that, from what I gather, has been around a long time. So a lot of teachers, especially ELA teachers out in the audience, may know of this. But even so, they've gone through a huge revamp this year that I think is worth highlighting. And we've had a review of this site for a long time, but took a look this August at their revamped site, and it scored really well, a 4-star review. I had been familiar with the old version of the site, and I think the new version is so much better, so much crisper, cleaner, very, very modernized. So even if this is something you're familiar with, I'd take another look at it just to check it out. Teaching books, we rated it all grades. So just about any teacher, I think, will find something useful here. There is a free and paid option for this site. That pricing is a little tricky for me right now. I'm on a trial account, so I've had the benefit of browsing their copious amount of resources essentially for free, but they do gate a lot of it based on whether you're free or paid. So you can try the trial, check it out, but you may find yourself really loving some of the resources that are listed here under paid. Most notably, with free, you get exploration of kind of like the top line information about books. The site's all about teaching books in the class, as teachingbooks.net would communicate. But the kind of copious amount of supporting resources, those are only unlimited with the paid, whereas with the free, you get credits to those. There's also an extraordinary diverse books toolkit we'll take a look at that's only for the paid account. So it's just something to be mindful of while we look at this, that this is one of those things that you may need to pay for. So teaching books, the pitch here is that any book you're teaching that's part of your curriculum is likely going to be in here, and you can just start your experience by doing a search, or they even have a QR code reader where you can scan in the book. But let's take a look at the browse here, since we're not looking up a specific resource. One thing to know is they have a lot of different ways in. They have like a student experience, an educator experience. They break it up into these little different paths through the resources. I actually find this more confusing than helpful personally. I would recommend just going straight to the browse, so you can kind of look through everything all at once, and find a book that you're already teaching and check it out. And once you get to one of these pages, you can see just the immense amount of things they have. Now, as I said, I'm under a trial, so I'm seeing it all. But so if you're under a free account, you may only be seeing some of this. But what they give you is, like, if you're teaching a book, a one-stop destination to find all sorts of related things about the author, about the book itself, that you can use to provide a more rich experience. They'll often have interviews or information about authors. They have even handy things like, how do you pronounce various authors' names? Simple stuff like that. Here's some interviews with this author. They then have book guides. And a lot of this tends to be curated from other sites. Like, here's something, an educator's guide to this book from Reading is Fundamental. Something from the ADL, a lesson plan on this book from the ADL. Let you know the various awards it may have won. You can add it to a list. You can share it with students. They have these interactive experiences, I think, are the big weak point of the site. They have some stuff including a student section that are meant for students, I tend to not see this as particularly valuable. It may fill a gap for you here or there, but this is really, I'd say this is less a site for students and more a site for educators, just to get oriented to what is out there in the world to use to teach books that you're already teaching. And for that purpose, I think it's really extraordinary. I don't quite know of anything else like it, frankly. And you can browse by the book. You can also browse by the authors. So if you're teaching a particular author, you can just dive in there and look at the books they've written or the information they have about the author. They have cool things, these video book trailers, often for a lot of the more popular books that you could play, to kind of get student interest in a book you're teaching. Audio excerpts. They do a lot of original content like guest blog posts or their own original interviews. They vary in quality. Some are really old since the site's been around, but they still do the trick, right? Now, this is sort of bearing the lead, though, because I think the thing that this is most notable for, the most spectacular part of this site, is the Diverse Books Toolkit. Now, like I said, they know what they've got in that this is one of those things that is paid, and the subscription is, a little hefty there. But if you get your school or district on board, you can work that. But this Diverse Books Toolkit, this is another thing I've never seen anything at this level, where they have the most incredible way to browse books by culture, or just kind of, like regional or transgender or LGBTQ plus issues, stories that feature mixed race characters. Like, it gets into a level of detail you just do not see. This kind of like puts this on display where you can then browse by these, cultural experience categories, but then cut them by grade level or subject as well. They then have all of the interviews highlighted here that they've identified. A lot of this you'll have to do some searching, but you can also just pop one of the categories open and see everything that they have on offer there for that. There's an upgrade page here. Interesting.
That does seem incredibly useful for schools who are trying to diversify their curriculums, but want to keep similar objectives and similar genres, etc.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a big concern, especially this past year. In moving into this new school year, a lot of schools really want to, change up their curriculum, and this is a great starting point. One of the best starting points I've seen for that, especially when you start doing some of the searching and digging. You just go down a rabbit hole where you're finding amazing things you just didn't even know existed. So that's really the top line for me here. Our negatives, like I said, the student experience, not great. I did find all of the different ways they have for browsing the resources. These I didn't personally find helpful. Maybe one of these things connects with you and it's like, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. And it provides you a way in to the books and resources. But for me, I just preferred to start with search or start with the global browse experience and go in there. And I felt like I was getting a better experience and orientation through that pathway. So I might recommend you do that versus going to one of the pre-existing kind of categories they have.
What I'm hearing is, if you're very interested in diversifying your curriculum, sign up for that free trial.
Yeah.
Get the information you can get and then get out.
You might go that route. I think you could, I believe it's a 30-day trial. It's a long trial because I did this review a while ago. I'm still under the trial. So it at least gives you a really good picture of what's there. I mean, when that trial ends, you can see if the things that you were really loving are gone and whether you want to maybe advocate for a purchase for your school for that resource. Because that's one thing that every teacher that's teaching books in a school will use, right? So it's even, it's less an individual experience and one that I think a whole school would probably likely want to sign up for.
Cool. That sounds like a great tool. Thank you very much, Tanner. And thank you to all of you. We'll be back again next Tuesday. And please visit Common Sense Education to get more reviews, lists, curriculum, articles, all kinds of resources for free. Thank you, and we will see you soon.